YouTube, it's your boy Steph, man. We're back at it with another YouTube reaction. I got a special one for y'all. I've been meaning to find out what's been going on in France some way or another. Now I don't know if this is on some LAF shit. Like, you know, LAF, I reacted to LAF and he sounded like a Uda Buddha. I said that he was from the UK and he moved to the, France and, he getting down over there. You know what I'm saying? But they be chinging, blinging, yinging, pinging, popping, glocking, shotting over there as well. So we finna find out. This is a video from Crime Street, DZ Mafia, the gang terrorizing the south of France. So I've been trying to find like some cool videos to react to dealing with, other countries and stuff. So this is what I can find. So we finna tap in and see what's going on. Be sure to tap them links down below, like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, man, let's get it. Let's learn.
It's the sound of a Kalashnikov.
Marseille.
A stray bullet tears through the wall of an apartment in Marseille, killing 24-year-old Sokena, a law student, as she sits in her room. Her death was one of nearly 50 that stained the city with blood in 2023, part of a war declared by France's most feared criminal organization, the DZ Mafia. But how could this massacre have been triggered by a senseless argument in a bar in Thailand? This is the story of how a single ice cube unleashed hell. Marseille has always had an intimate relationship with crime. For decades, it was the heart of the French Connection, the world's largest heroin network, controlled by the Corsican Mafia. But what happened in 2023 was different. This wasn't a settling of scores between old, shadowy godfathers. This was a slaughter in broad daylight. The city's own prosecutor described it with a single word: a bloodbath. That year, drug-related violence claimed 49 lives, a record-breaking figure that terrified France. 4 of those victims, like Sokena, were innocent bystanders who were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
The violence was no longer contained within the notorious northern districts, the Quartier Nord. It had spread throughout the city, turning streets into war zones and citizens into hostages of fear. Shootings erupted anytime, anywhere. In hit cafes, outside mosques, in community centers, and even in flower shops. Behind this explosion of violence were 2 names the police quickly identified: the DZ Mafia and the Yoda clan. According to authorities, these 2 organizations were responsible for 80% of the drug-related murders and attempted murders in 2023.
Damn.
What had been a turf rivalry had morphed into a war of total annihilation.
Wait, he said 2023? Oh, this shit recent. Oh, hell nah. Oh, it's going down.
A fundamental shift in the city's criminal history. The old world of the Mafia, with its codes and relative discretion, was dead. In its place, a far more chaotic and bloodthirsty monster had been born. To understand the DZ Mafia, you have to understand its...
Oh, no way, he just offed that nigga with an AK up close like that. In traffic? Oh, no.
Founders.
Oh, no.
Brothers Mehdi and Lamini. Larabi. Their story begins in the Cité Basson, a housing project in Marseille's 15th district. Mehdi, the younger brother, was a troubled student who dropped out of school and quickly dove into a life of crime. Years later, he would admit it in court with chilling coldness. "I'm no saint, I can be bad. At least 200 people wish me ill. I became scum." His criminal life took a surreal turn. In 2008, he landed a role in the crime film Kamsa, playing a character named Rachitic. The nickname stuck, and in the Marseille underworld, he became known as Tick. His brother, by extension, became Tech. Together, the 2 brothers seized control of a thriving drug spot in their neighborhood. But their rise was cut short.
Hold on. So you mean to tell me these niggas got a role as kids to play little kid gangsters and then wanted to try this shit out in real life and succeeded? What? Is that what you telling me right now? What the hell
In
is going on?
2011, they were arrested and convicted for a triple murder known as the Marseille barbecue.
Oh my
They had
God.
killed 3 associates who betrayed them and then burned their bodies inside a car.
Oh my God. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's about to get real.
Mehdi
my God.
Tik was sentenced
Friend,
to 10
stay
years
inside.
in prison.
Oh
While
Lord.
he served his time, others took control of his turf. When Tik was released in 2021, he didn't return as a reformed criminal, but as a strategist with boundless ambition. His
Oh,
old
wow, this is
territory
all
had been taken
recent.
over, and he was determined not only to reclaim it, but to build an empire. Instead of acting alone, he forged a network of strategic alliances. He partnered with other notorious criminals, like a dealer from Fontvert, nicknamed La Brute, the Beast, and the powerful clan from the city of Marignan. This federation of clans became the DZ Mafia. The name
is he
DZ is a
wiping
reference
blood
to Zaire, and the name for Algeria in Arabic, a nod to their French Maghrebi origins. This
Oh.
wasn't just a gang, it
Bro.
was a cartel in the making, a
What
criminal
in the
confederation built
world?
for war and expansion.
Y'all see the footage that they
Mehdi
showing us
Tik
right now?
Laribi wasn't just back. He was ready to launch a hostile takeover of the Marseille underworld. Tension between Marseille's clans had been simmering for a while, but the spark that ignited the fire was lit 5,000 miles away, in an atmosphere of luxury and excess. In February 2023, in a nightclub in a tourist area of Thailand, the 2 most powerful drug lords in Marseille came face to face. On one side, Mehdi Tik Laribi, the ambitious head of the DZ Mafia. On the other, Félix Bingui, known as Le Chat, the Cat, the charismatic leader of the rival Yoda clan. The Yoda clan was a force to be reckoned with. With over 1,000 members, it controlled key drug spots and took its name from the murals of the Star Wars character they used to mark their territory. The rivalry between the 2 groups for control of the lucrative drug spots in the Cité de la Paternelle was already intense. That night in Thailand, ego and alcohol proved to be an explosive mix. According to a gang member's testimony, a drunk Félix Bingui wanted to provoke his rival. He grabbed some ice cubes and threw them at Tik's head. A trivial gesture, almost childish, but in the honor code of these new drug lords, it was an intolerable public humiliation. A fight broke out in the club, but the real battle wouldn't be fought there. It would be fought on the streets of Marseille. A DZ Mafia member summed it up in his police statement. Félix was drunk. He threw an ice cube at Tik's head and, from there, all hell broke loose.
Wow.
The revenge was immediate and savage.
From an ice
A
cube,
few days
nigga.
later, the war erupted. The first recorded death was a 17-year-old member of the Yoda clan. He was surrounded and lynched by a mob of 30 people in La Paternelle.
Oh, y'all out France lynching niggas? Y'all out France lynching y'all ops? Oh my God. Oh nah, y'all different out France, boy. Y'all different out France. Lynching your op is crazy. Y'all out France moving way different, boy.
Response was swift. The next day, a member of the DZ Mafia was shot and killed.
The next
Vendetta
day?
had Asku begun. A single ice cube had triggered a war that would bleed the city dry for an entire year. The war that broke out in 2023 was unlike anything Marseille had ever seen. The nature of the violence changed. As the police prefect, Frédéric Camilleri, explained, there was a paradigm shift. Before, they killed to conquer territory. Now, they kill to scare.
They're just killing it, yeah.
The goal was no longer just to eliminate a rival, but to sow terror in the opposing camp.
Yeah.
It was a vendetta in its purest form, characterized by extreme cruelty and a total lack of humanity, as described by the Marseille prosecutor. Ambushes happened in broad daylight, in crowded areas. The killers would fire indiscriminately into groups of people with no regard for collateral damage.
Wow.
And to carry out this slaughter, the gangs turned to a new type of hitman. Young, inexperienced, and completely disposable.
Yep.
Hiring assassins became as common as hiring a lookout. Teenagers were recruited through social media like Snapchat, offered life-changing sums of money to commit murder. An 18-year-old Mateo F. confessed to police that he had earned $200,000 for a series of contract killings. Another offer found online advertised $30,000 for 5 murders. These young hitmen, often with no experience, were given a weapon they barely knew how to use, a photo, and an address, and sent to kill people they didn't know. This new workforce was cheap and replaceable. If one team of hitmen was arrested, another immediately took its place. The police found that arresting a hit squad no longer guaranteed months of calm, as it had in the past. The engine of this violence was the easy access to military-grade weapons. On the black market in Marseille, a Kalashnikov, an assault rifle designed for war, could be bought for just a few €100.
Wow.
This Uberization of contract killing, where hitmen are an interchangeable and abundant resource, combined with a strategy of indiscriminate terror, created the conditions for an inevitable tragedy. The question wasn't if an innocent person would die, but when and who would be next. On the night of September 10, 2023, the strategy of killing to terrify found its most tragic face. Sukaina, the 24-year-old student, was in her third-floor bedroom. She wasn't on the street. She wasn't involved in anything illegal. She was at home, working on her future. Her mother, Layla, recounted the events with a pain that pierces through words. "We heard Kalashnikov shots. I thought they were firecrackers," she said. On the street below, 2 men on a scooter had opened fire on a drug-selling spot recently set up at the base of their building. They fired blindly, without precision, with the sole intent of spreading panic. One of those military-grade bullets tore through the building's facade and into Sukaina's room. Her younger sister went to her room to ask for a charger. She knocked on the door. No answer. She knocked again. Silence. When she opened the door, she found Sukaina on the floor. "I went to see," her mother recalled. "I found my daughter in a pool of blood. I turned her over. She no longer had a jaw, no teeth, nothing. A bullet had destroyed her head. Sukaina was collateral damage."
Oh my gosh, bro. I'm trying, it's crazy. It's like, sometimes you want to ask God, like, why sometimes, and like, I'm just confused on how, like, did they just shoot up? Like, how does the bullet just go all the way up to the third? I mean, if you, I don't even know, Lord. Damn, man. Damn. RIP to her, bro. Real talk. RIP to her. And it's like, bro, one bullet shattered her whole, like, head. Like, she said she had no jaw. Like, golly, bro. Oh, man. That's sad, bro. That's so sad, man. That's sad, bro. That's so sad. Like, and this is what I'm talking about. These goofy niggas with guns, bro. Like, how the hell, like, you just, like, I got no words, man. I got no words, bro.
Damage, a clinical term that fails to capture the magnitude of the tragedy. She was a bright young woman with no connection to the criminal world, whose life was annihilated by the random brutality of the gang war. Her death became the most powerful symbol of the terror that the citizens of Marseille were living through. It proved that in this new war, no one was safe, not even in your own home. The police investigation eventually led to the arrest of a suspect. He was 16 years old, a teenager accused of wielding a weapon of war and ending an innocent life. Sukaina's death was not an accident, It was the direct and predictable consequence of a strategy that had turned the entire city into a shooting range. As the war intensified, the DZ Mafia not only consolidated its power in Marseille, but also evolved. It ceased to be a simple drug gang and became something far more sophisticated and dangerous. A crime franchise. One investigator described the organization not as a gang, but as a cartel, a federation of criminal associations. Their business model diversified. Drug trafficking remained their foundation, but they began applying their main asset, terror, to other markets. They expanded into extortion and blackmail, targeting small businesses, restaurants, nightclubs, and even celebrities like the popular rapper SCH. The logic was simple.
So these niggas are just terrorizing everybody. They just terrorizing the whole thing. He did say cartel, and that's what cartels do, man. Cartels, they terrorize the whole area, boy. Like he said, blackmail, small shops, and then they gonna start asking for debt. Like, you want to keep selling your product in this area. If you don't want to keep getting robbed and stuff like that, and your store keep getting robbed, then pay us a little debt every like, it could go from every week, it could be every day, it could be every 2 days, it could be anything, bro. It could be literally anything. And that's the scary part about it. Like, as a store owner, I'm just gonna get the fucking move. I'm not staying there, boy. I'm moving. I just move out the country at this point. Like, man.
Their reputation for extreme violence, built on a foundation of murder, was the ultimate tool of intimidation. When the DZ Mafia came knocking to demand money, you knew the threat was real, but their ambition didn't stop at Marseille. They began to expand their brand across France.
So these niggas all got
their operations were detected in cities like Sète, Avignon, Valence, Rennes, Dijon, and Toulouse. Their method of expansion was a crime as a service model. Instead of building a new operation from scratch, they offered logistical support and manpower to local gangs in conflict with rivals. In exchange for their services of violence, the DZ Mafia would take a cut or even full control of the drug spot, effectively becoming a shareholder in local crime. The network also developed international tentacles. Investigations looked into their connections with the Brussels criminal underworld and their possible links to the feared Macro Mafia, the Moroccan-led cartel operating out of the Netherlands and Belgium.
I heard about that.
They were even investigated for their alleged involvement in a wave of coordinated attacks on prisons and prison staff in France, in an attempt to intimidate the state from within. The DZ Mafia was no longer just a Marseille problem. It was becoming a national security threat, facing a crisis spiraling out of control. The French state responded with overwhelming force. President Emmanuel Macron visited Marseille and announced the launch of Place Net XXL operations, an unprecedented police offensive against drug trafficking. The Interior Minister, Gérald Darmanin, described the strategy as a psychological war aimed at cutting off the octopus's tentacles. Thousands of police officers and gendarmes were deployed. Daily raids were conducted, constant checks were made in common areas of buildings, and drug spots were relentlessly harassed. The results were stark. Thousands of arrests, tons of drugs seized, hundreds of weapons confiscated, and millions of euros in criminal assets frozen. Major blows were dealt to the leadership, including the arrest of Yoda clan leader Felix Bingui in Morocco.
They got his ass.
In some neighborhoods, the pressure worked. In La Paternelle, the epicenter of the war, the permanent police presence succeeded in dismantling the drug market. Concrete blocks replaced dealer lookouts, and for the first time in years, residents felt they could breathe again. However, this saturation strategy treats the symptom, not the disease. The moment the police chemotherapy is withdrawn, the social and economic conditions that fuel the drug trade are still there, ready for the cancer to grow back. Despite the mass arrests and police pressure, no one dares to declare victory. The DZ Mafia is far from dismantled. Police and lawyers alike describe it with the same metaphor: It is a hydra, an octopus with 1,000 heads. Cut one off and 2 more grow back. Its strength lies precisely in its structure. It is not a hierarchical pyramid that collapses when the leader is arrested. It is a decentralized network, a criminal model adapted to the 21st century, with bosses running their operations from prison cells or from abroad. Their army seems inexhaustible. They have at their disposal a nearly infinite reserve of young people from disadvantaged neighborhoods willing to kill for a few thousand euros. It is an army of anonymous and disposable soldiers. One expert sums it up this way: the traditional Corsican Mafia, the old masters of Marseille, wouldn't stand a chance against them today. Because the DZ Mafia is not a gang, it's an army. Thanks, Uri.
Wow, bro. Let me find out. It is bussin' out France, boy. Lord Jesus Christ, man. Be sure to tap them links down below. This is a great video. Shout out to Crime Street, man. Great video. Tap them links down below. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, it's your boy.